Central Coast champions, here is our team meeting for the week. So, starting out with our 321 James Clear newsletter, a simple practice for peace, how to become disciplined and being bold. For the three ideas from James Clear, the first idea is intelligence isn't just about what you know, it is also the ability to avoid being your own bottleneck. If you lack the skills, be willing to look foolish while you learn them. If you lack the connections, be courageous enough to reach out and build them. If you feel uncertain, be bold enough to figure it out along the way. Many people have the ability, but they talk themselves out of trying. All right. So I think this is a really great thing. It's actually something that I shared on my Instagram story. Ultimately, I just think that, a lot of people in today's society, they can kind of almost talk themselves out of doing things like that can, kind of help them grow. Right. And so ultimately, I think that whenever you lack something, you should be curious, right? And you should really kind of dive into that curiosity. Because that's where you're going to grow. And ultimately, you shouldn't have basically what you don't know scare you and have you hold you back from your true potential, right? So ultimately, let's get some better lighting in here. There we go. That will make it a lot better. So, second idea from James Clear, your thoughts and actions belong to you, just like your possessions. Every so often, it helps to declutter, donate old clothes, or clear out a crowded shelf. Maybe it's time to let go of some unhelpful thoughts or outdated actions too. And then number three, pause and try this simple practice from Thich Nhat Hanh. Breathe in and close your eyes. Breathe out and smile. Okay. And so, real quick, guys, I want us as a team to do this little activity. Okay. So, everyone, when I say on three, I'm going to have us breathe in and close our eyes, and then hold it for 5 seconds. And then we're going to breathe out and smile. Okay. So, breathe in, three, two, one. Hold, one, two, three, four, five, and breathe out and smile. There you go. So, boom. Two quotations from others. Number one, Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us how to live. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Number two, author Kurt von Gutt teaches us that growth and originality come at the edge. I want to stay as close to the edge as I can without going over. Out on the edge, you see all kinds of things you can't see from the center. Big, undreamed of things. The people on the edge see them first. Now, one question for you. Consistency cannot be guaranteed, but you can create the conditions to make it more likely. Before you try to become a more disciplined person, how are you creating a more disciplined environment? Give us a second to think about this one. All right, who wants to share first?
I think just when I think of a disciplined environment, like in making that happen, I think of trying to be better in your diet or something like that, where it's just like it's harder to do that when you have a bunch of junk food and unhealthy snacks laying around. So the same with this, like eliminate distractions and just do that so that way you can do what you need to do for work and school and whatnot first before you go and watch TV or Netflix or whatever.
100%. Absolutely. I love that. That's great.
Um, I'd say surrounding yourself with disciplined people or people who are like trying to improve themselves. Because if you're around people who are trying to improve themselves and get better, then you'll automatically get pushed in the right direction there.
100%. I like that. Surround yourself, with good, disciplined people. Love that. All right. Now, Mike Casaro.
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind of goes back to what you were saying about clearing off the clutter and stuff like that. Cleaning up my actual environment, like physically, like where I'm at, so that I have more focus on being able to stay focused on doing the job. You know what I mean? That way, I don't have so many distractions and stuff in my actual like workspace. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. Totally. So cleaning up the environment, same thing. I love that. All right. So moving on in here. Really proud of us overall. We were number 10, not number 8, number 10, first full year office in the nation, top 10, 4 straight weeks. So I want to have a question for y'all. Can we take over all of October? Because the entire like last 3 weeks of October, we have pretty much been in the district, like, or not pretty much, we have been in the top 10. So I would love for us to be able to continue to be in the top 10, and honestly would love for us to just climb up a little bit, like kind of larger in the top 10, not be at the bottom, and be a bottom feeder. I want our team to kind of go a little higher. Love to see that. So what is the possibility for this next week? So some upcoming events that we have going on. Just kind of a review. I haven't mentioned these the last couple weeks here, but one thing we do have that is really exciting for all representatives. There is going to be a October division meeting next Wednesday from 6 to 8:30 p.m. It'll be taking place at the Pasadena Pilot office. I'll be helping with transportation to the event. And so I would love for if everyone could be able to go to that. That'd be awesome. There's going to be right now, currently, we're in the middle of what's like called a push period, basically. There will be the last 2 weeks, basically, of sales. The people that have the most will go up front and get recognized, get trophies and stuff like that for this Halloween push event. You come in to it, theme is just wearing your Halloween costume, basically. And that's going to be super fun. I think they're going to do some sort of like raffle giveaway for the best costume or something like that at the event and everything like that. But it's super awesome event. Last year we did something for it as well during Halloween. It's just always a really, really good time. And so we always like to have some fun during that time. And so that is going to be also, that is in replacement for our team meeting for that week. So we will not have a team meeting next week. This will be the team meeting basically. And so if there's any sort of basically, we will have to leave around, I would say, like 2:30 would probably be the time that we would have to leave at the latest during that on that day. And so it is, since it is about 3.5 hour drive to Pasadena. So that would be around the time that we would need to leave. And then we, of course, have for our leaders, there is TLA number 2 that is taking place on Saturday, October 25th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Pasadena Pilot office. It is invite only. And so those of you who are invited, you will know that is going to be at that time. Now we have Alex Funk advanced sales video. And so I'm super excited to show you this. I think this is going to provide some good value for the team overall. I have played this video before, so some of the veterans, you guys know what this video is, obviously. But overall, this is a great video. Raise your hand if you would like to kind of learn some more tips of like selling bigger Cutco sets, like the signature set, ultimate set, right? There you go. All right. I love that everyone, even the veteran Sean Tracy, who's seen this video probably like 3 or 4 times through my team meetings, even loves that. So, ultimately, this is a great person to learn from. Jared Erickson sold a lot of Cutco. Top player in the central region. And so overall, you're going to learn some great stuff from him. This video is a couple years old, but he just gives away so much confidence and just conviction within the product, tells you a lot of great stuff. And overall, Alex Funk, when he posted this YouTube video, he had said that his team had sold like 6 or 7 signature sets after this talk. And so overall, there's a lot of great value you guys could be able to take home from this, whether it's questions that he says, verbiage, just take some really, really great notes because he gives away some really good stuff. So definitely get those pens and papers ready. We will get started with this video.
Jared got started winter break a few years back, sold 15,000 in his fast start, sold another 15,000 the next couple of weeks. Jared sold over $100,000 his first year on the job. Jared then decided to take some time off, and he went and pursued another job. Then he
Damn it. Hold on.
Jared got started winter break, first full year back in action. Jared is on our events team. He does sell in presentations like you all. He also does service calls. He does a little bit of everything. And last year, in 2022, Jared sold $180,000 at Cutco. So he made 90 grand this last year selling knives. I think he took like 8 vacations or something like that as well. And so I asked him specifically to talk on service calls. I'm sorry, on signature sets. So I want you to pay really close attention to this. Listen to the language. Try and pull out the little nuggets to say this can make a big difference in my presentation, and we'll go from there. So Jared, the floor is all yours.
Sweet. How's it going, everybody? So I'm going to be talking about signature sets today. I honestly think I've sold more signature sets than homemaker sets, and that's just because I believe it's a better set than the homemaker. You get a lot more out of it for a better price, honestly. So 4 main key factors I'm going to be talking about today. It's number 1, creating urgency. Number 2 is going to be creating value. Number 3 is price perspective, and then I have some key phrases in there for you guys too. And then lastly is just belief in it. So number 1, creating urgency. Why should people buy from us really in the first place, whether it's a signature set, a homemaker set, or even a piece? Really, it's just selling yourself. And I think one of the biggest key factors into me selling signatures or anything at all is my goal sharing. So making sure you guys have really good goal sharing. I know Alex has a video of me on YouTube talking about goal sharing. I think that's a really good resource that you can use. Just making sure that you're talking about your goals within Cutco, what you're trying to sell, whether it's for, your fast start or for the push, or for like the month or for the year. Make sure you're talking about that. But also, I like to incorporate a lot of my other goals in life. So like I compete in bodybuilding. I always talk about that, like buying my first investment property. And that's really getting people bought into you for who you are. Another big thing with creating urgency is making sure that you're asking the right questions, because sales 101 is whoever asks the most questions is in control of the conversation. So asking questions at the beginning of the demo of like, what kind of knives do they have? How long have they had them for? How are they holding up? Do you ever have to sharpen them? And sometimes these can be really good, like pain questions. And when you're creating a pain point for someone, it creates urgency and them getting something that's going to work really well for them. So again, it's, how long have you had your set? What kind do you have? Do you sharpen them? Another really good question that I use is, have you guys ever considered upgrading your knives? It's not usually something that's on the top of people's priority, like their list of things to do. But I think when you bring it up and you create those pain points for people, they realize, oh yeah, we could use some good new knives. So have you guys ever considered upgrading your knives? And then creating value. So I don't know when you guys learn the 3-set close. I think it's in advanced training. Is that right, Alex? The 3-set close in advanced training? Okay, cool. So make sure you're showing all the sets, no matter what. Even if at the beginning of the demo, someone's like, I'm not buying knives today. Show everything, because you never know. I've had people who tell me at the beginning of the demo that they're not buying anything today, and then they end up buying a homemaker, a signature, or an ultimate. It's happened before. So make sure that you're showing everything, because you never know. But really with the value, are you guys selling on price, or are you guys selling on value? When people see the value, which you should be selling on versus price, when people see the value in things, they're going to buy it if it creates value for them. The price won't matter. So what is better in the signature set? Well, number 1, you get the choice between the steak knives or the table knives. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't want, a big steak knife. A good way to kind of get around that before it's even brought up is comparing it to the trimmer. What I found with selling signature steaks is that the steak knife is the most comparable knife to the trimmer. Now, the trimmer, Miss Jones, that's the most used knife in our sets, is the trimmer. So now when you have your steak knives, if your trimmer's in the dirty dishwasher, the dirty sink, you can go ahead and grab one of your steak knives and use it for the same thing. So not only do you get to use it for like a nice dinner, but you can also use it for, all around stuff, anything the size of your fist. It'll work great for. And then the 4 other pieces that you get in it, I think are the 4 best pieces. I use them all the time. Number 1, the super shears. Who doesn't use the scissors around the house or in the kitchen? Everyone does. I think everyone has 6 pairs of scissors just laying around, because most people's scissors are junk. Well, why not just have one really good pair that has one central location in your home? right there in the set with everything because it fits in the block, which is great. Then you get the cheese knife. Guys, the cheese knife is the #1 most sold knife that Cutco makes. It's the #1 bestseller. Make sure you say that. That creates urgency and value in buying the signature set because it comes with it, right? And then, make some jokes with it, call it the holy knife. You can only use it on Sundays. But also make sure that you emphasize that the cheese knife is not only used for cheese, but anything sticky or starchy. Not a lot of people cut block cheese anymore. A lot of people buy shredded cheese, right? So make sure, like I call it the everything sticky knife. So anything sticky or starchy, Mrs. Jones, whether it's cheese, apples, cucumbers, potatoes, tomatoes, anything like that. And potatoes, it's phenomenal on. Like, it's crazy how good it is. I think someone in our house cut up a whole potato last night with the cheese knife. I saw a bunch of potatoes laying around on the cutting board and the cheese knife next to it. Might have been Alex, I don't know. And then you get the 5-inch petite santoku. I call this the baby chopper. Now, Mrs. Jones, I don't chop babies, but it works great for everything else, right? There's a little fun joke with it. But the baby chopper, I like it a lot because it's just small, lightweight. It's my mom's favorite knife. I think once she upgraded from her homemaker to the signature set, the 5-inch santoku was the knife that she used the most. She uses it a lot more than the petite chef. And Mrs. Jones, the nice thing about having 2 chef knives in your kitchen now is if you and your husband or you and anyone else are both cooking at the same time, you don't have to fight over a chef knife anymore. Now you got 2 to work with. And then the Hardy slicer. So what's great with the Hardy slicers, I call it like the Grill Master knife. This knife is phenomenal for like cutting up cooked meats. I personally cut up, my cooked chicken with it every couple of days. I like to tell stories with a lot of the pieces, just like, my mom using the petite santoku, me using the Hardy slicer. Stories sell, facts tell. So I think as long as you're telling them the facts of what it's used for and then incorporating some sort of story with it.
That's a nugget. Write that down. Stories sell, facts tell, right?
I think that'd be great.
I might have. Oh, shoot. All right, let me get back to it. Dang it. Hold on here.
Jared got started winter break. Jared.
Like it was brand new every single time.
Dang it.
Over and over again. It took me 5 minutes and I sold another signature set like that. The 5-inch santoku was the knife that she used the most. She uses it but the baby chopper, I like it. Everything else. Now, Mrs. Jones, petite santoku. I call this the baby chopper.
Too early?
Now, Mrs. Jones, I gotta pull out these crappy knives and keep. A week later, his friend Nate called me, bought a signature set.
Have you guys heard this?
I tried to sell him on the ultimate set, but he said, no, I want to do the same. I gotta pull out these crappy knives over and over. Like it was brand new. Your knives ever again. Imagine if a lot of that'd be great. Using the petite santoku, me using the Hardy slicer, it's like what would work with.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it here, yeah.
And then the Hardy slicer. So what's great with the Hardy slicers, I call it like the Grill Master knife. This knife is phenomenal for like cutting up cooked meats. I personally cut up, my cooked chicken with it every couple of days. I like to tell stories with a lot of the pieces, just like, my mom using the petite santoku, me using the Hardy slicer. Stories sell, facts tell. So I think as long as you're telling them the facts of what it's used for and then incorporating some sort of story with it, I think that'd be great. People will buy into it a lot more. Another thing is creating an imagination perspective for someone. So throwing stuff out there at them like, hey, Mrs. Jones, imagine how nice it will be to get rid of all of your knives in your junk drawer and just have one simple block in one location on your counter. Imagine if, Mrs. Jones, you never had to worry about replacing your knives ever again. Imagine if, Mrs. Jones, you never had to worry about replacing your knives ever again. Imagine if, Mrs. Jones, every single time you pulled a knife out of your block, it worked like it was brand new every single time, over and over again. That would be great, right? Now, when you're telling them to imagine if, it paints a picture in their head of what it would be like to have it on their counter. And that creates a lot of value for people. You know, if they think in their head, oh, I got to pull out these crappy knives and keep using them. But then if they think in their head, holy crap, I could have this nice knife block on my counter and it's going to work great every time, I'm going to love that. You're selling them more on it. You're creating value. Also, you know, emphasize that, you know, for me personally, I'm able to emphasize this because I have sold more signatures than homemakers. It's like, this is the set that most of my customers buy. Not because it's more expensive, but because it's the best set that we make. Personally, that's what I think. And I think when you show that, it really creates a lot of value. You know, it's kind of like keeping up with the Joneses. I had a customer this last summer, John Adamick. He got 2 signature steaks from me, one for him, one for his business partner. A week later, his friend Nate called me, bought a signature set. I tried to sell him on the ultimate set, but he said, no, I want to do the same one that John did. And then guess what? The last week of this year, their other friend, Jeremy, called me and said, hey, we need a new knife set that's good. I heard you're the guy. I want to get the same set as Nate and John. And it took me 5 minutes and I sold another signature set like that. So it's just like keeping up with the Joneses. I think that as long as you present it that way, you know, hey, this is the set that most of my customers do. I think a lot of people want to follow up with that, right? Then I got price perspective and key phrasing. You know, when it comes to the price perspective of the signature versus like the homemaker, when the homemaker is $14.19 and then it jumps up to $21.33 with the table knives or $24.13 with the steak knives, you guys, that is not a huge jump. You're getting 2 extra table knives and 4 extra pieces for like $700 more when all of the pieces range $100 to $200. And then when you jump up to $24.13, it's you get 10 big steak knives, so not the little table knives anymore. You get the big ones and those 4 extra pieces. So that's 14 extra pieces for only $1,000 more, 14 different ones. If you priced out, I think 10 steak knives and those 4 extra pieces, it's going to cost like around a homemaker set, right? So you're getting that much more for a really good price. And you know, the 5-pay on it, if you guys sell on the 5-pay, it jumps from, what is it, $309 to $427 or $483. If people are already saying yes to the homemaker set and they're splitting it up, they can afford to jump up to that, right? Once you get someone to say yes to a certain price, it's not much harder to double it, if not triple it. And then I have some really good key phrases for you guys that you can use when you're closing. You know, Mrs. Jones, Cutco is pricey, but you get what you pay for. And you will use this every day for the rest of your life. I'll repeat that again. Cutco is pricey, but you get what you pay for. And you'll use this every day for the rest of your life. Mrs. Jones, what else can you spend $400 on a month that you will use every day for the rest of your life? Except you only have to pay it for 5 months. What else can you spend $400 on a month that you will use for the rest of your life, and it only lasts 5 months to pay it? There's not much out there, right? You can compare it to like a car payment, which is, I think like a brand new car payment is around there, like $400 or $500. And they're going to keep paying that unless they buy the car out or they get a new car. And that payment is always going to be there. Same thing with like a phone bill, same thing with like a mortgage payment. It's never going away, right? Unless they pay it all off, which is a lot more money than a knife set. And are you, typically using your car every single day? Not necessarily. Whereas you got to eat every single day. You're going to be using the knives every single day, multiple times a day, if you're cooking at home. Another one is, being very honest and open with your customer. If they're on the fence about it, you can be straight up and say, hey, if you think it's going to break the bank, don't do it. Most salespeople don't do that. Most salespeople are really pushy. If you kind of pull back like that, they'll be like, oh, wait, well, it's not going to break the bank. And right there, it tells you that they can do it. So offer, a better deal if they're like, if they say they can do it, if it's not going to break the bank, right? So if you think it's going to break the bank, don't do it. And then another imagine how much more enjoyable cooking will be when you have these tools in your kitchen. Imagine how much more enjoyable cooking will be when you have these tools in your kitchen. Everybody got that? And then lastly, I got belief. I really think that belief comes from getting use out of these things. If you don't own them, it's going to be, typically harder to believe in them. So I know on Vector Connect, you can order some of the pieces for a cheaper price, or you could always go through your manager maybe and buy it at a third. But get the scissors, get the cheese knife, get the 5-inch Santoku, and get the Hardy slicer. Use them in your kitchen. If you are doing in-person appointments, bring them and show them. But if you are just doing virtual appointments, get them in your kitchen, use them. You can pull them up and show them on camera. I don't have one of the pieces, but I keep some Cutco next to me so I can show it on camera. And I think it creates a lot more value when the customer knows that you actually have it too, and you actually use it too. And when you use it, you're going to believe in the product even more because you know how good it is. Cutco's the best of its kind. And if you use it every single day, you're going to have so much more belief and confidence when presenting it to somebody as well. And just know it's possible. I think the reason I've had such good success from the beginning is because I sold a signature set in my fast start, and that allowed me to believe that it is possible. And I think, you can take, if you haven't sold a signature set, look in your chat. If someone else is selling it, you can sell it too, right? And I think the more that you do start selling signature sets, the more you believe in it, the more normalized it gets. Before I had even sold a signature set, I was like, damn, is someone actually going to buy this? And then someone did, and it was almost like, whoa, people do really, really do this. I think it's important to understand that if other people are doing it, you can do it too. Just like, if Alex could run a marathon, I can do it too, right? So I just have a little bit of a call of action to you guys is number one, get some of the pieces if you can. If you can afford it, do it. Talk to your manager about it. I know there's a way to get some of them on Vector Connect. And start using them every day because they are going to be the best knives in your kitchen if you don't have Cutco already. And then number two, is just who's going to be the first person to sell a signature set after this meeting. I'm excited to hear. So good luck to you guys. If you have any questions, I think I might have like a couple more minutes. Does anybody have any questions?
So I guess I'll just ask you a question. So like, do you use all those questions when going over like the sets and stuff with the customers, or do you kind of pick and choose which ones you do?
For like the key phrases?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't go, over all of them. I think it's important to at least incorporate one. And I think it's just kind of based on how the customer's feeling. Like, if the customer is like kind of sticker shocked, by the price, it's like, okay, yeah, Cutco is pricey, but you do get what you pay for. And, you're going to use these every day for the rest of your life. Like that's a good example that I can show. Or if someone's like very on the edge, you say, if you think it's going to break the bank, don't do it. And then they'll be like, oh, it's not going to break the bank at all.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other quick questions?
Yeah, real quick. How do you go about in like upgrades, for example? So let's say someone settles for the homemaker or something of the sort. How do you give the proposition of a signature, if you would?
Yeah, I mean, if you go through the 3-set close and they pick the homemaker set, they say yes. Don't try to upgrade them or upsell them until you get their credit card number, right? And if you know that they really liked like the cheese knife or like the super shears and stuff, and you haven't given any of that for free yet, be like, hey, Mrs. Jones, just so you know, when you buy Cutco, it's like Costco. The more you buy, the better deal I can give you. So, just for laughs, do you want to see what it would look like if you did the signature set instead of the homemaker set? What kind of a deal I can give you or more free stuff? I think that's some really good key phrasing that you can use. And make sure you do it after you get the card. That's a little bit more advanced, but sometimes if you do it before you get the card, they might just think you're being super pushy and they might not do it at all. I think it's happened to me once. But after you get the credit card, they're already buying it. It's not super hard to upsell them on something else like that. So I think did you get that key phrasing down? Okay, cool.
Thank you. God bless.
I think that's it. I don't know who's speaking next. Or if
Awesome. There we go. So, really quickly here, I'm going to go through the weekly newsletter. Did you guys take some good value from that overall, though? Good. Awesome. Great. Love to see it. So diving back into the team meeting here, going over the weekly newsletter. This is the front page of the newsletter here, showcasing basically the Olean tour that is happening at, I think, the end of or like the middle of no, or it's the first week of November, I believe, is when it's happening. So super excited for the future leaders. And then All-American Scholarship winners. These are from the last campaign in the summer campaign. The four winners, they were recognized last week. I think this is the last week they'll be in the newsletter. But really, congratulations to these four individuals for being the top 50 students in the nation. Now, going through the top representatives that sold Cutco this last week, we have Danny Garrido leading the way, $32,000 sold last week. Pretty crazy. And then we also had Lori Landry right behind Danny selling 31.7K as well. Deanna's up there as well with 28.8K. Pretty awesome stuff. A lot of awesome Pasadena CSP is crushing it. Now we also have our team getting recognized as the number 3 FFY new district office. Pretty fired up. And overall, again, I say this every week, but you guys see my name on the newsletter, ultimately next to our team name, but ultimately that is not me. That is you guys. Ultimately, our team is you guys. So, ultimately my name is the one that has the recognition on that, but it is all of you individuals, what you guys do every week. So great work overall for getting us up on that newsletter once again. Now, Austin Oberbillig, person that's going to be speaking here pretty soon here. It was the #1 veteran district manager selling 36K, beating out Ben Lee in total business. And then we have Kevin Donahue's Pasadena pilot office. Wow, 155K this last week from the Pasadena pilot office. Pretty crazy week overall. And our Los Angeles division absolutely smothering the Western region with almost 200 grand sold last week. So let's give a round of applause for our Los Angeles division. There we go. Awesome stuff. Now, going into the recognition for people that got over $750 in sales this last week, we had a few people such as Miss Sienna Lopez, who sold around, I believe, $1,100. She got recognized over there, 1186, as well as Josue Mercado, who sold a 1303. So super fired up to have those two individuals get on the newsletter, as well as I believe Michael Wilmot got on the newsletter, our field sales manager of the Central Coast, selling 780 buckaroonies. There we go. Or that's incorrect. It wasn't 780. I believe it was 800 something. Now, going into the pace setters, Matt Graves sold 2 weeks over $20,000. Deanna Scortino 2 weeks over $18,000. And then we have Deanna Scortino still crushing it with the 3K pace setter, as well as Michael Southard. And then something I'm really, really hyped about overall. Josue Garduno, 4 straight weeks of going over 1K. Really fired up for him continuing to just get that exact same pace of just doing 1K per week. A lot of those weeks he's sold more than 1K, but ultimately getting to that minimum 1K pace setter is something that's so, so great. You see people like Michael Lamasser, who's done 1,024 weeks straight. And then also somebody that's both of these people are in Austin Overbillig's office, 289 and 268 straight weeks of selling $1,000. So that is a great, great kind of pace setter that you really want to try to shoot for overall. And then we have the new promotions. We had Ashley Rios. This is basically a week behind. And so this was recognized on the newsletter. Ashley Rios' promotion from last week getting recognized on the newsletter, as well as Josue Garduno's 30% Dirty 30 senior advisor promotion. Super fired up. And then we had the Grand Days. And then the All-American Scholarship contender, Sienna Lopez, is still in the running, and 25, being number 25 in the top 25, which is super fired up. And she's also added on some CPO as well. She's just over 14 grand. So, and I know that she's got something cooking up a little bit with the set here pretty soon. So we'll see what happens with that. Super fired up. Now, the fall campaign fast start record holders, we had both Sienna and Josue getting recognized all together for being the new record holders. Now, Sienna Lopez is now top with the crown at $12,943 sold in her fast start. Absolutely dominant performance from Sienna. Now, going through the top contenders, we have Macy Arnold with the PR contender. She has 11 people that started the job and they sold 1K for her to be able to get to that point, and she is one PR away from being able to be fully qualified. And then the Western Region Phone Jam leaders, and as well as the times for this next week when it comes to the Phone Jam. And then the people that were on the board this last week, we had host Sway Garduno, Sienna Lopez, and Michael Willman. Above $750 in sales, we had Michael Willman at $893, Sienna Lopez at $1,185 and 50 cents, and host Sway Garduno $1,303. Boom. There we go. Great work. Now, this is the standings currently for our Central Coast champions for the 2025 year. We got Michael Willman at $30,000 sold, breaking that 30K mark overall for the year. Super fired up. I think he's around 56 grand in sales total right now. Then we have Sienna Lopez, $14,282.50. Randy Ngaglia, $12,942. Josue Garduno, $11,355. And then Justin Castanon, $9,114. And now, our guest speaker, my former DM, Austin Oberbillig. And so, giving you guys a little introduction. I'm sorry, Austin, if I was incorrect on this, but I believe his Cutco career sales is around 9.8 million. I believe that's probably right. If I can get like,
That's what it was last week. Now it's 9.9.
oh, this guy's a savage. There we go. All right. So 9.9 million. He's most known for developing some of the best CSPs and DMs in our region, including yours truly. He's known nationwide as one of the best district managers in our country. I've known Austin for 4 years. I started in his office as a sales representative. I advanced to being an assistant manager for him. I got the opportunity to be able to be a branch manager for 2 summers. Got to learn pretty much, I like to say, I got to learn basically 80% of what I know in the business from Austin Overbillig. The other 20% was from Kevin Donahue, and I was a sales manager for him. But ultimately, a majority of what I know comes from the man that is going to be speaking to you guys in just a moment. He's also Silver Cup champion, being a national championship winner in 2022. If you go on his Instagram, you can see a little nice, like, I think photo of him posted up, like Messi with his trophy. It's pretty awesome. And Austin's also one of the biggest inspirations on why I took on the district manager opportunity. He helped me in so many different areas of my life, and he's developed me into the leader I am today. He's my big brother, my best friend in life. I'm really looking forward to the value that you all will take from this man tonight. So get those pens and papers, those little typey fingers ready. Austin, there you go. It's all you.
Cool. Rock and roll. Appreciate the intro. Um, I had I'm excited to be here tonight and excited to give you guys some value. Sean, good to see you again. It's always a pleasure. And Sienna, we had a little FaceTime chat a
Good seeing
couple
you
weeks
too, Austin.
back. So I don't have anything super formal prepped. Ryan shot me a text earlier today, and I've been in coaching calls all day, so that's my fault, not his. But essentially trying to hit P banquet, so you know, getting back to work for the first time in 3.5 years or so. Um, but as far as giving you guys some value tonight, you guys team meeting ends at 9, correct? I want to make sure. All right, cool. You guys have already watched the video. I love Jared. But I want to make sure I'm not just talking at you guys if it's not something that is immediately valuable to you. So I'd really prefer to just kind of do an open format here. I've got lots of different places that I could go. Sean and I go back quite a number of years at this point. And Mike, you and I have had a number of conversations. Ashley, I don't know if we've met, and then Sienna, we had our brief phone call a couple weeks back. But I'd really prefer to just customize the next 10 minutes for you guys, because there's so many different directions we could go. So I know you guys weren't prepped to have questions ready and things of that nature, but we can really go in any direction that you want. I'm I've been around long enough that if I can't pull a keynote and a message or a good answer out of my mind in about 5 to 12 seconds, I probably should leave the business. So where do you guys want to start? What's helpful? What's top of mind? How can I help?
So, you said something about getting back into the swing of things, right?
Yep. Yep.
So let's hear a little bit about that because I've been kind of down on a little funk lately, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. So, what do you got for me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. So at the end of the day, whether you're kind of getting back into the swing of things from a management aspect or from a rep standpoint, um, the first key to remember is not to get out of the swing of things. That's key number one. So you guys heard Sean, do you do martial arts or am I just imagining that?
I do martial arts, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm like, I hope I'm not profiling here. No, just kidding. I thought you did. So you guys ever heard the sort of idiom, the best way to win a fight is to not fight, right? Yeah. So I think Sean will back me up here. It's
Yeah.
great to know how to fight, but like you never know who has a knife or a gun. And so same thing applies to losing momentum. The best way to get back into the swing of things is to not get out of the swing of things in the first place. So that's thing number one, Mike. So if you can't avoid it and you've already gotten yourself to that point, there's a couple things to keep in mind. The first one is the analogy of pushing a boulder up a hill, right? So imagine a hill that sort of is steep and then it kind of gets less steep the farther up you go. Well, pushing a boulder up that hill is going to fucking suck, right? At first, because it's the steepest part of the hill and the boulder feels the heaviest. But as you push that boulder up the hill, it's going to feel less and less heavy because the hill is going to get less and less steep. And that's the same thing with your effort, right? Now, the problem is throughout this process, if you let go of the boulder, what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's lower again.
It's going to fall again. You got to start all the way back over. So when you lose momentum, when that boulder rolls to the bottom of the hill, the proverbial hill, so to speak, you've got to put in a requisite amount of effort to get your results back to where they need to be. Okay. And then eventually going to get to that plateau, right? Now, the sort of tried and true ways to get momentum again after losing it are one, massive output. Okay. So this is just massive output of effort. Okay. The second way is targeted output. And targeted output is output that is not numerous in nature, but it is effective in nature. Now, if you are unable to have targeted output or effective output, right? Well, then you have to go the massive output route, right? That's the route you have to go. So it's a little bit different for me as a manager versus a rep, but the principles remain the same. So you have to find a way. You need to identify and work with Ryan. What's the boulder I need to push up the hill? Is it going to be an equation of massive output, targeted output, or a little bit of both? And you need to get a realistic timeline of how long it's going to take to get rolling again. And you need to prepare for it to take longer than you think it's going to take and for it to be harder than you think it's going to be.
Right.
So
Thank
that
you.
would be my answer to that. Ashley, when did you start?
Maybe like a week or two ago. I think it's been about two
Okay.
weeks.
Okay, great. So you're brand new. You have no idea what's going on. You're still trying to figure out what the heck's going on here.
Yeah.
And that's normal. Okay. How much have you sold so far?
Well, I've sold 1K, over
Great.
1K for crypto
Over
so
1K.
far.
Great. That's fired up. You excited about that?
Yeah. I got my first promotion. I was happy about that. I didn't even know. Ryan was like, "Hey, you got your first promotion." I was like, "Oh, I did?" I was like, I didn't even know.
Nice.
I was like, "Okay, cool."
Nice.
Um,
I
it
taught him
got
well.
me a
Act
little
like
more
you've been there.
determined.
Good. Good. Very good. And then Sienna, you started, this is your third week or second week? Is this your first week out of your fast start?
I think first or second now. I'm bad with dates.
Okay, cool. I'm bad with dates too. That's why I write down my anniversary. Got to write it on paper. You got to put it in the got to put it in the calendar. All
Smart
right,
man.
I'm only 30. I'm only 30, but the memory's starting to go. I got to eat more carrots. Um, so when it comes to you guys that have not been around long enough to lose momentum, this is really important for you to understand. Just don't lose it in the first place. So circling back to my original point, right? Um, Anastasia, my rep that Ryan highlighted on the newsletter, she's been selling $1,000 a week, at least every single week for 289 weeks, I believe. No, 268, which is 5.1 years. Okay. So for the last 5.1 years, she has sold $1,000 a week every single week without missing a week, taking 7 to 10 vacations a year. And she does that because it's really hard to pick up momentum again, right? Even for an experienced rep. So if you can take anything from Mike's question, it's just don't let it happen. Just don't let it happen. So great question, Mike. Any questions, Ashley, Sienna, Sean? I never know what you're up to, but I'd love to help.
I'm here.
I'm here. I love it. I love it. Did you help put up the posters that Sienna applied from and then got this crazy job that she made $2,000 from in the last 3 weeks?
I don't usually do posters. I usually do business cards with Ryan, but I mean, I guess you could say
Business
I
cards. All
help
right.
around with campus work.
Nice. I love it. Sienna, did you hear about us from a poster or a business card?
I actually heard about you guys from a kid in my class.
Interesting. Okay, great. Does
Really
he work
just
here or did he
great
just
coincidence. He is actually in a different office. He hasn't transferred over yet, so he goes to Cal Poly, so he should be in Central Coast, but not gonna
hey,
push
that's
him,
a
I
great point.
guess.
While we're on that topic, what's his name and what office is he in?
His name's Christian, and I know he's in one of like the California offices, but I can't remember. Maybe
Hmm.
saying something. I don't know. I
What did you
can't
San
San
something?
remember.
Jose?
San Jose?
I
Oh,
can't
hey.
remember
Well,
honestly.
I'm taking free agents, and Mike Schmidt needs to stop kicking ass. So, if he wants to join my office, he can. You give him my number. You have my number, okay?
No offense,
Um,
but he's definitely joining us.
fair enough. Fair enough. All right, that's fair. You guys need a CPO. Um, that's fair.
You
I
just
like that
gotta
you got
just
that
stick the
fire.
knife in, like Sienna just kicks your butt just like that, then you just turn to me and stick the knife, and all right, I feel it.
It's just a game. That's why I like this job. So so yeah, I without rambling there, that's my answer to that question. So any other things top of mind or things that you guys are struggling with? Ashley, Sienna, you guys are brand new. Sean doesn't need any help. He's got it figured out. He's a dual black belt, 10th degree Dan. So
You give me way
you
too much
guys have
credit.
anything?
Maybe
You
just
guys
like
have
any
anything on?
tips. Sorry, maybe just any tips you have on like cold calls and just reaching out to people that you haven't either been introduced to or like recommendations that you don't really know.
Yeah, I do have tips on that. Tip number one, don't do it. So I know that sounds crass, but I actually just shared this. Can I share some data with you? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Cool. You guys can just stay unmuted, by the way. There's six of us here, so you can just be unmuted. Uh, so I track every single demo that happens in our office. Can I have screen share, Ryan? That's appalling that we're 38 minutes in the Zoom call and I don't have screen share. All right. There we go. So I track every single demo. This is what our demo sheet looks like. Let me just zoom out. So every single one of these is a submitted demo. Okay. And we track the efficiency. I'm a big data guy. So I like to be able to tell reps in training, what they can expect, right? So what the numbers tell us about three-way texted referrals is that three-way texted referrals are 4.2 times more efficient than regular leads. And so what that means is if you go out and get 5 referrals that are put in a 3-way text with you, you're going to produce the same amount of appointments from that as if Mike went out and got 22 non 3-way texted referrals. So it's going to produce the same amount of appointments, right? And Ashley, this is really important for you as well, being as new as you are. So the way that I framed this actually spoke to and I know we only have a couple minutes here left, so I'll be quick. But the way that I framed this to our managers today when I spoke on our region call is that most jobs that are worthwhile and worth doing are hard. That's why you get paid well, right? Hard doesn't mean undesirable. Hard just means hard, right? It's hard to be a successful rep. It's hard to be a successful manager. That's why I make a lot of money, because I do a hard job, right? That's why you guys get paid well, because you do a hard job. But don't make your job harder than it needs to be. So that's really important. So when you have a hard job, don't make the job harder than it needs to be. And when you're a rep, cold calling and not taking the extra time to just get a couple introduced leads, makes your job 4.2 times harder than if you did, right? And so I know that's not the answer not the question you asked, but that's the answer you're getting, right? Because the job's already hard enough, so you might as well not make it hard on yourself. And the other thing here is don't look so much at the total referrals you get. Really start trying to get good at how many 3-ways do I get? Like if I'm Ryan, I would rather you get 5 3-way texts from a customer than 20 leads. It's the thing. It's actually slightly more efficient, right? And so if you look at the average percent, let me zoom in here. If we look at our average heads up percent, 90% in my office. So 90% of the leads that we get are heads up texted. So I'm a massive stickler about it. Massive. Okay. And the reason I'm a stickler about it is because it's so much more efficient. So I know that's not the question you asked,
no,
but
that's actually perfect. I appreciate that.
yeah. Are you putting a lot of effort in your appointments on making sure that they get 3-way, or are you mostly focused on like the total amount you get?
I think just by the end of my appointments, people are kind of like, oh, like especially if they don't buy something, because I typically get more referrals when people buy things, especially a lot of things, because they're kind of excited and they don't mind that it's taken all this time because they're getting a good product. But people that don't get anything or get maybe 1 or 2 pieces, they kind of are ready to get out of there. So it's hard to
Sure.
be like, okay, wait, like, can you like send, like, do this, go through all your contacts and then like
Yeah.
introduce me. They just kind of want to get off the call. So I think that's kind of the speed bump I have to get over.
Great. Okay. So full disclosure, anybody that needs to go can just log off now if you need to. I don't like being the reason you guys are late. Second thing, I think I'm going to give you some real value here. Okay. Do you have 2-3 minutes here, Sienna?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. And I think this will help the rest of you guys as well. Actually, especially you, since you're so new.
We
So
started like 5 to 6 minutes late too, so we're chilling.
that sounds like not their fault.
That's my
But
fault. So, but I
okay.
know. Okay.
All right. So it does not apply on finish time. But that's okay. So here's what's really important, and I'd recommend writing this down. Framing creates more influence on your result than how you do something. So here's what I mean by framing. As you do your demos, Sienna, are you talking to a customer about your 2 promises or your 3 promises? Okay.
No.
So at the beginning of a demo, I'm doing a demo with you, Sienna. Hey, Sienna, I have 3 promises for you today. 1 is I'm going to try and make this fun. And if you're not having fun, I want you to tell me, because it's important to me that my customers have fun. 2, you don't have to get anything, but if you do want to get something, I'm going to make sure you get a great deal on it. Okay. And 3, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to give you a contest where you can earn some free Cutco by introducing me to people who might love our product. So start thinking about those people now. And so you're making a promise. You're framing it as like, we are going to talk about this. I'm going to ask you at the end of the demo. So that's thing number one. Thing number two is when you get to the end, if you have a customer who bought a set, right, and you haven't given a ton of free stuff away because you're learning how to sell on value and not on free stuff, then what you can do is you can say, hey, Miss Jones, you ask for leads and you say, hey, thank you so much for these 7 leads. If you don't mind, what I'd love to do is have you reach out to these people. You probably don't want me cold calling your friends either, correct? Are you framing it like that? Where it's like you're sort of framing it as like, you probably don't want me cold calling them either.
Yeah, no, that's really good verbiage.
Okay, so that's the first way to kind of frame that and way to say that. And then if you're really struggling and you're not quite getting the momentum, people love free stuff. So you can say, Miss Jones, on this signature set, what I can actually do is I can give you 1 free table knife for every single person that you introduce me to that texts me back within 24 hours. And then you can actually go back and you can make additional items for free after the order has already been placed, as long as it happens within a 24 to 48 hour period before the order gets shipped. You just have to email fieldservice@cutco.com. Okay. And so you can let Miss Jones know, hey, thank you so much for giving me these 11 referrals. If you can introduce me to 8 of them, I'll give you all 8 of your table knives on your homemaker for free. Now, this assumes you haven't given a lot of free stuff away already. And it assumes you're struggling so much that you can't get the 3-way introduction without it. But typically, if you frame it that way at the beginning of the demo, as far as a promise, and then at the end of the demo, you frame it, hey, you probably don't want me cold calling your friends either. They're going to feel a lot better about like, oh, you're right. I don't want you doing that. So let me just do this really quick. And you can say, normally, what most reps do, Miss Jones, is they ask their customers for 50 or 100 or 150, referrals. I just like to get 5 to 10 from my customers because I'd rather be introduced to people who want to get a call from me and not just people that I would want to call. And so you're framing it as like, other reps do this, but I do this. And so again, it makes it feel like a quicker process for them. So framing is really important. So
Yeah, I
anyway,
appreciate that. That's really helpful.
cool. All right, sweet. It's 9:06.
That was gold.
Yeah.
Go.
So and by the way, that framing sort of principle that I just taught you guys, you can use that in like 100 different ways. So Sean's a master of this. If you're curious, just ask him how to do it. So is Ryan. So anyway, that's all I got for you. It's 9:06. It's not all I got for you, but it's 9:06. I want to respect your guys' time. So if you guys have more questions than you want to ask and you want to stay on, I've got another 5-10 minutes here. But for those of you who need to go and if you need to wrap up, all good. You can head out.
Right on. Thanks, Austin.
Yep, you got it.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Better. Good seeing you again, Austin. I will see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Shoot me a text if you ever need anything.
Will do. Later.
And bye,
All right,
guys. I
see
really
ya.
appreciate all that helpful information. I'm writing it down as I say this.
You got it. And Ryan, start auto recording your team meeting so you can send these out to people who missed.
Yeah, no, I recorded this. This is all recorded.